episode 134. I'm Ket, and joining me today is my good friend, Would You Like to Buy My Dog?
What's up, everybody?
All right, I got the name wrong. WannaBuyMyDog. How's it going, dude?
It's good to be back. It's good to be back on the podcast. It's been a while.
Yeah, returning. You may remember WannaBuyMyDog from, what was it, the BG report this past December. So, I'll save the grand introduction since we've already kind of did a little interview on that one. But if you hang around the Stormhaven, Wayrest, Undaunted Enclave, where everyone's dueling all the time, probably seen Dog hanging out there.
It's my second home.
Although, you better pay attention to the name, because just based on the character, the look changes like every 10 minutes. So,
Yeah, I could never decide on one fit for my character. He's not wrong.
I swear, we're like hanging out on the observation rock there at Stormhaven, and I'll turn around and different outfit, turn around again, new outfit. It's like, I feel like you're just like ADD or something, and anytime you're not dueling or something, you're just fidgeting with cosmetics and stuff.
Fashion Scrolls Online is the true endgame of Elder Scrolls Online, and it never stops.
Indeed. Yeah, and then housing after that. Have you gotten into housing yet?
Never will I ever get into housing.
It's like an extension. It's like an extension of fashion.
Nope.
You know?
Nope. I can't.
You say that. You say that now.
I don't got
All
the money.
All it takes is one.
Nope, I'm not doing. Well, I do have a house, and there's floating animals all over the place, glitching everywhere. So
Right.
I'm happy with that.
It's a house of horrors. All right.
It's a house of awesomeness, is what it is.
Well, okay. So I just want to ask you a couple of questions here. You took a little bit of a break. You were like off for like 3 months there. Have you noticed any major changes coming back from when you were playing?
I was off. It was more than 3 months, bro. I was gone for.
Oh, was it really?
It had to have been like 8, 9, maybe. It was a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I
Way longer
was.
than I thought.
I was taking a healthy break from the Elder Scrolls Online.
It's good to do.
Coming back to this game, though, Sorks are nuts. Nightblade's got some very needed buffs that are awesome. I think they need more. And
you think? Yeah.
And
need more buffs.
That's about all I noticed, because I got back right before that newest update. So I actually was here for some of the new sets and things that came out with the most recent one. What was it? 43? Update 43.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's when we got the new Infinite Archive sets, Pyrebrand, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the Vampire Undeath nerf.
Oh yes, we love that nerf. We love that so much.
Pill and a White Strake and Uncle Sam in the chat. Thanks for joining us, boys. Good to see you.
Good old Uncle Yammy.
Posting some pictures from a boat. He's on a boat.
Sam.
Oh, look at your cute little deck shoes. It's like you're a real captain.
Oh my god. So relaxed. Go work, Sam.
Working hard. Look at that beautiful.
Go clean or something.
Man, I need to be a captain. So, you've been doing a little streaming, twitch.tv/WannaBuyMyDog, and on YouTube. Anything you want to say about that?
I am trying to get more into it and actually be more serious about it. I've been doing YouTube shorts and other things, and like Twitter. And if you want to come check me out streaming.
I recommend it. My very favorite streamer, always entertaining. It's always a cool combination, because I mean, you're not really one to brag on yourself, I don't think, but phenomenal player, excellent player, but also just pretty darn entertaining at the same time. You don't take yourself too seriously, which I always enjoy in a streamer. So definitely recommend checking out WannaBuyMyDog on Twitch and YouTube.
I appreciate that. Sam said, I mean, he's okay. Sam.
He's okay.
Go drive your boat. All right.
Well, okay, that's enough introductions for now, I think. Let's get into some things here. So let's talk about the gold vendor. What's on the gold vendor this weekend? We'll start off with the jewelry and its rings this week. We have Armor of Truth, Sanctuary, Red Mountain, and Stygian. And Red Mountain and Stygian are the two overland ones, so you can actually sell those if you want to, which they both will probably sell. Those are both pretty good sets. Red Mountain, bread and butter proc set, the volcano lava thing that hits people.
Red Mountain used to be all over the place. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's still really good. It's still a really good set. And then Stygian is a really good like ganking set, like good for Nightblades. It's one where like if you just look at the 5-piece bonus, it doesn't look amazing, but then you look at those 2, 3, 4-piece bonuses, and that's what really makes it great. If you check out Ironworks on YouTube, check out his ganking guide. He speaks very highly of Stygian. It's actually a pretty good set. Monster sets, we have Mother CNA and Prior Theoric. I don't think either of those are super interesting. Prior Theoric could maybe be good for a PvE build. That's that one that it's a monster set that puts the whirlwind under your enemy's feet and it makes them take extra AoE damage. So maybe like a PvE Stamplar build or something like that. It could be good.
Maybe. I've never heard of that set.
Yeah, I think it came out maybe around. Man, I can't even remember. Maybe like around Greymore or something. It's not one you see in PvP because it makes a ground effect that's like super very obvious and it's real easy to avoid it. And it's kind of one where you need them to stand in it for a while to get anything out of it. So it's just it's not a good PvP set at all. Mother CNA is not good at all either. Really just that Red Mountain and Stygian rings, I think.
That's the important part right there.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
That's the gold vendor. Got a little bit of patch notes, some maintenance patch on the live server right now. So we're on version 10.1.6 right now on the live server. And for Nightblade, the shadow image ability, that's the teleport shade thing. They fix an issue where this morph could be used in areas where movement abilities are meant to be suppressed, such as Imperial City spawn areas. So now the shade will fail to summon if you try to cast it in those areas, but it still will consume the magicka. So be aware of that. So WannaBuyMyDog, Nightblade main, they're going to affect your gameplay, trying to,
I ain't used
play
shadow
spawn areas.
I ain't used shadow image in forever, and I didn't even know that was a thing. But I guess it's a good thing they fixed it. It kind of sounds like it was a fun thing to do, maybe, but probably for the best.
Oh, it's maddening fighting Nightblades. Fighting against Nightblades that are using this thing, you can't get your hands on them at all, especially if they're using this and Cloak. Like they'll jump off a bridge or something and you'll chase them down and then they teleport back up to the bridge.
The strats you could do with Shadow Image were always the most fun. I will say.
Super fun.
I should probably put it back on one time or two.
So yeah, if you want to use that in a spawn area, like in a battleground spawn area, that's not going to work anymore. And then for Warden, the Frozen Gate ability, reduce the range to 22 meters, so that range will no longer be extended by Battle Spirit. It's just 22 meters. And it can no longer teleport people through walls, and you can, just like the Shadow Image, you can no longer use it in spawn areas. I guess that was something maybe some people were exploiting. Seems like that's something they were targeting to fix that.
Using things in spawn points.
Yeah. Some visual adjustments to Athelia in the DLC. I haven't actually looked at her, but I know that character model needed some attention, so hopefully she looks better now. And apparently, according to the patch notes, they fixed the infinite load screens when you're loading into Battlegrounds, which I haven't seen one since this happened. So
I have not either. Knock on wood.
So, in other news, Update 43 is now live on consoles. They've had it for like a week now, I think. ESO is now playable on Steam Deck. Very tempted to buy a Steam Deck and just play ESO all day at work. That would be fun. I mean, I work out in a park, but I could hook it up to like my mobile hotspot and, I don't know, just mess around in inventory and stuff at least. That's very tempting, honestly.
Oh no. That's like RuneScape. You could be like the people that just play RuneScape from their phone from anywhere.
I mean, even when I'm at home sitting at my computer, I would say a good 75% of my playtime is just tinkering around in inventory and trying, like putting builds together and not really doing anything that requires a really good internet connection, so I could do that kind of stuff all day.
People who play RuneScape
Uncle Sam,
are
people
degenerates.
who play RuneScape are degenerates. Yep.
That's right. They're
It's true.
awful humans. By the way, Uncle Sam plays RuneScape.
And he happens to be a degenerate, so that does
It's
check
true.
out.
He is driving a boat right now. I don't know what that has to do with degeneracy, but Uncle Sam doing it. Who
There,
knows?
there's got to be. I mean, yeah, there's got to be. There's obvious evidence right there. There's a relation. Let's see. Pill and a white streak. I'm also an inventory management main. Oh, yeah. I'm not a main. My inventory is too messy for me to call myself an inventory management main, but I definitely just, I don't know, look around in there a lot. Okay, Sam, inappropriate. It's a family show. All right. Okay, here's an exciting piece of news. What's today's date?
That's a good question.
It is September 7th. On September 10th, we're going to get an official live stream from ZOS, giving us a preview of the update 44 patch, the PvP patch that's coming up here in, I don't know, probably a couple of months. So yeah, just in a few days. I think that's on Tuesday. They say discover what lies ahead for ESO throughout the rest of 2024 with a brand new preview live stream. Tune in to twitch.tv/Bethesda to learn about the update to PvP, our 10-year anniversary plans, and more. I'm definitely going to be eating that up. It's not often that they focus on PvP. I mean, not ever. I don't think that they focus on
It
PvP as the
maybe
thing that they're
maybe a
doing.
few years. Maybe a few years.
Maybe.
Man, I hope it's good.
Is there anything specific that you're like hoping to see?
I've only heard whispers and just what people think it's going to be in passing, but even from that, it sounds like it would be good. Like people say it's supposed to maybe be like a new objective type game mode, but an objective game mode where people actually fight for something. So like I don't know if you've ever played a game like Overwatch or whatever, but you have to move a caravan through a map, but to move it, you have to be right next to it. So people are just constantly fighting over moving it one way or the other for one team to win. If it's something like that, it'll be good because that means it'll be constant fighting and something to actually work towards. That's not just fighting, but you're still constantly fighting.
Yeah, you know, we always talk about how it's a bummer to get an objective mode. We just want to play deathmatch, but really, it's just because the objective modes that we have are poorly designed, and they discourage fighting. That's why we don't like them. Really, nothing against the concept of objectives at all. If it's a well-designed objective and there's a good reason to focus the objective and it incentivizes combat and actual fighting, then great. I'm all for the objective. Let's do it.
I agree.
Yeah, there are some rumors. There's like some data mined information about what we can expect in the Q4 update. I don't like to get too deep into that kind of stuff that's not like an official communication from the devs, but I thought we could maybe just a little bit
It's fun to
talk about
speculate.
those leaks.
It's fun to
Yeah, yeah.
speculate and dream about
Yeah, I mean,
things.
come on.
Come on.
Yeah, so just very clear. This is all just kind of like data mined information, and we'll see on Tuesday what the real situation is. But it seems like some fairly reliable sources are revealing that it looks like it's going to be a battlegrounds focused update, which it seems like maybe they're just overhauling the battleground system entirely. Looks like it might be a 2-team situation instead of a 3-team situation, so a 4v4 mode and an 8v8 mode, a whole bunch of new maps to accommodate that kind of system because the maps we have now are designed for 3 teams, so that's not going to work. I think that's about. Oh, in a proper ranked mode, I think like you'll actually have a reason to try to be on those leaderboards and better rewards.
Better rewards. Please. Imagine you get
Oh
rank
man,
1 and it's like, here's 50 tempering alloys. Or what's the most expensive material now? I don't
those
even know.
are probably those. Maybe those are pretty expensive.
Drew X, I remember those were 40K at one point. That was super awesome to buy.
Yeah, better rewards, man. I mean, even if we kept our current battleground system, if nothing else changed, they could improve the current situation just by improving the rewards. Like, I mean, we've said it 10,000 times on this podcast, but if we just got 10 transmutes for the battlegrounds daily, that alone would massively increase the population, just the number of people that are queuing up and playing all the time. It'd have a huge impact.
Yeah, because one transmute per game or one transmute per day is it's not it. It's just not.
It's laughable rewards. And when you get on a leaderboard, you get like a coward's gear shoulder piece as your a gold coward's gear piece for your reward. It's paltry
Oh
paltry
yeah,
stuff.
give sets that people use. Maybe throw rallying cry in there or something from PvP, something from Cyrodiil, something people
Yeah,
use.
yeah, would be nice. So yeah, those are the leaks. 2 teams, new maps, better rewards, an actual ranked mode, all that stuff. So yeah, just the fact that a battlegrounds thing is happening at all, regardless of like the specifics of it, that's going to draw attention to it. People are going to be checking it out. It's going to be hype, at least for a little while. I'm actually really really looking forward to it. I think the BG environment is going to be kind of electric for a little while. So last year, the Q4 patch was on October 30th, the very end of the month. So we'll probably expect it around that same time, very late October, very early November, kind of in that time frame there. So like, a couple of months from now, really not far away at all. And I imagine the public test server for this patch is probably like not this Monday, but next would be my guess.
I remember when we got Arcanist. That was only a year ago, huh?
Yeah, I get confused sometimes because I think of Arcanist as being something we got just in this past chapter, but no, it was the one before. It was last year.
Yeah.
we got scribing this year.
There was so many people messing around with Arcanist on that PTS when it came out. There was enough people messing around with it for us to queue Battlegrounds in the PTS as
Oh
all
wow.
Arcanist, and the amount of beams and things flying from the sky that there were in those games was horrendous.
Man, just another kudos to the implementation of that class. They really have fit right into the meta just fine. Haven't been nearly as disruptive as I was expecting. And also with scribing, I was expecting scribing to really turn everything upside down. And it really has. I mean, it's very powerful. A lot of people use it. There's a lot of good stuff with it, but it hasn't just like totally made the game this chaotic mess of balancing or whatever.
Yes.
I've been pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed with like the past 2 big things that they've added have really been implemented very well.
Good job, Zus. You did something right.
I think they don't often get credit where it's due. People like to criticize, but they don't like to point out the good things.
You got to give credit where it's due.
Got to. Let's see here. We got the Undaunted Celebration event coming up on September 12th. That's on Thursday. The Fallen Leaves of Westweld event, so a Gold Road themed event, is going to be on September 26th. Is when that starts. That'll be one of those things where we can get a community achievement. So you individually don't necessarily have to do the thing, as long as the community as a whole reaches this goal. Then probably get a house. They usually give us like a really gigantic house or something really cool. So that'll be a thing. And public service announcement. If you're not aware, you can get a free Thurvican arms pack and a free costume in the Crown Store. For the costume, you just have to have completed Fang Layer and Scale Collar Peak. You can do them on normal. That counts. And for the arms pack, you just need to have done 10 pledges for Maj Al Ragath, which is one of the base game, not the DLC NPC. So
That's fun to say.
Very likely you've already accomplished that. Fun to say? Is that what you said?
Maj Al Ragath. That's fun to say.
Maj Al Ragath.
Maj Al Ragath. Yeah. That's what it is. Oh,
the
no.
arms. That's oh no.
Oh no.
The arms pack is pretty cool. The Thurvican, it's all like bones and stuff. It'd be great for like a necromancer. The maul especially is just straight up a spine, just a spinal column is the maul.
You love that maul.
Pretty awesome. I do. It's just I don't know, just running around holding a spine in your hand looks awesome.
Ket has been talking about this maul for weeks now. That's not true. But whenever this arms pack came out, he's been excited. We love holding spines.
I like the maul. Well, I like it. I don't actually have it on any of my tunes, but I don't know. I might put it on.
I don't actually use it, but I like it a lot.
Well, oh hey Morty, thanks for joining us, dude. Welcome. Got Morty, Uncle
Hi,
Sam,
Morty.
Helen a White Streak, Perfect Row.
He was talking about rewards. Like when we were talking about what rewards would be good, he said perfect row.
Oh boy, that would be the biggie, wouldn't it? So let's talk about what's been going on in PvP land. Dog, I thought since you hang out in Stormhaven, you're doing a lot of dueling. Maybe you could give us a little report on what's happening in the dueling world. If listeners are not aware, at least on PCNA, if you go to Wayrest in Stormhaven next to the Undaunted Enclave, it's just 24/7. That's the home of the dueling community, pretty much.
Yeah,
And
if
that's
you
where Dog
wanna,
spends most of his time.
it is where I live on Elder Scrolls. You know, it's
Everybody,
actually the same for Xbox and PS4 too. I have no idea why that is the dueling spot for everything,
yeah.
but it
Why is
just
it
is.
Stormhaven?
I don't know. I don't know. I
It's
just
just everyone just randomly agreed, like, "Yep, this is where we duel all the time."
the mean streets outside Wayrest is just it spoke to people.
It is absolutely the proving grounds. If you're like trying to come into this game and be a big shot in the PvP world, you're gonna have to make your name at Stormhaven if you want to call yourself the best. That's kind of my perception of things.
In a way, it kind of is. There's a lot of very ego driven people there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
People who take it a little too seriously.
Oh boy, the local chat there, the slash say chat right in that area is hilarious. I love just standing on that rock and just
Yep.
reading the chat.
You sit there, eat some snacks, do some other things, and just read chat.
I seriously, I spend a lot of time just doing that.
There's a lot of just weird drama to catch up on. It's like a reality
Oh, it's
show
so
in
funny.
a way.
And certain people, just when they lose a duel, I mean, here come the excuses, just like a freaking dissertation of
Yep.
why they lost that duel.
Yep. They'll write 100 messages in a minute about how Nightblade shouldn't be using bow or Dragon Knight shouldn't be leaping, and oh, you had to ult me to win. It's just wild. It's a wild place.
So yeah, but have you noticed anything like who's doing well, who's not doing well?
Oh,
What are you noticing in the dueling area?
that's right. There was a question attached to that.
That's okay.
Yeah. So, and dueling's slightly different. I'm just gonna say that from the get-go. Dueling is slightly different in terms of meta for PvP because people have
Mhm.
different builds for it and whatnot. But
Oh yeah.
what I've noticed is that for dueling, at least, pressure builds are king. So things like Sork. I mean, Sork's nuts everywhere. It doesn't change for dueling. So Sork is probably on top for dueling, and then you got Dragon Knight with the new Pyrebrand set, which we could talk about in a little bit. We got Templars are honestly pretty nuts. We got Wardens, if they're built correctly, are nuts. Nightblades really aren't on top in the dueling scene, at least anymore. I feel like they've dropped down a
Yeah,
lot
they're all burst really.
because the problem with everybody doing 5k 6k DPS in a fight is Nightblades can't deal with that. They just can't.
Yeah.
There's like no counter. So
Yeah, they don't have a hardened ward to spam or
yeah, you can't put a hardened ward on and have 92 more health bars attached to you. You just kind of have to try to heal through it, which you can't do. So you either
Well, and also their offense is so burst based. Like you're saying, pressure builds are doing well right now, and that makes sense because everyone stacks such high health these days. So you kind of need to pressure them down rather than burst them down, and that's not
yeah,
really Nightblade's wheelhouse.
no, it's not. So if you don't kill a Dragon Knight doing 7,000 DPS to you within the first 20 seconds of a fight, it's over.
So you think Sorks and DKs are kind of the maybe like the top two?
I would say Sorks and DKs, yeah. And then if I mean Templar, they've always had those builds where they have the unblockable javelin and they throw it at you and you get hit by a meteor and a Jesus beam
Yeah.
and purifying light all at the same time, and that's really hard to deal with. And
That almost to me, like, almost doesn't even count because it's like, okay, they have this one specific combo that's cheesy as hell,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
otherwise, what do they got?
Other
Yeah.
than that, there's like nothing unless they are nuts at the game. Then they could pull something
Yeah.
off. But
And in the case of DK, it's really just if they're wearing that one specific set, Firebrand, right?
no, DK all
No? Okay.
around. I think it's because of the status effect thing that happened since I
Oh,
was
okay.
gone. Because there's
I see.
even that Pyrebrand build or running Pyrebrand, it can be matched by just running Dragon's Appetite and Serpent's Disdain and a
Oh, yeah.
Banish
Yeah, yeah.
Staff. It pumps the same DPS. It's crazy.
Cool. So that's the Stormhaven report. Anything else to add about the dueling scene?
Um,
If there are aspiring duelists out there that want to, rule Stormhaven someday, do you have any advice?
go to Stormhaven. Just start fighting people. Learn
just
some
just start.
things. You gotta fight what's good in the game and figure out what it is and just kind of try to find a way to either go against it or mimic it, and you go from there.
And a lot of those people, they have rough exteriors, but they're almost just kind of like role playing as a jerk. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, if you really talk to them and ask them some questions, you get through that pretty quickly, and you find that they're
Yeah,
they're actually pretty nice and they're willing to help. And a lot of these really good players, they really enjoy showing off their knowledge. You know what I mean? So you start asking them questions, you'll get a lot of information, and they'll actually end up being really helpful.
role playing as a jerk is the episode title. To
That's
add
pretty good. Yeah.
to add to what Ket said, yeah, there's a lot of. I'm not even gonna say there's a lot. I'd say there's a few very ego-driven, just strange people that hang out in Stormhaven, but a lot of the people there are actually super chill, and you can ask them questions, and they will help you. They'll be happy to help you. Like if you came to me and asked me questions, I don't care about somebody knowing my build or whatever, which some people care about, but I'm always down to help people out if they need it.
Yeah, I've noticed that, like, anytime I duel someone there, if I lose to them, I just start asking them like, "Hey, what was this thing that you did?" Or, is there some piece of advice you might give me to make me better? Like, I mean, almost a 100% chance that they're gonna, like, have some advice for you that's useful.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that's the Stormhaven report, though.
Alright, there's the Stormhaven report. Well, in the BG world, I'll just do a little bit of some observations that I've noticed here lately. For one, we have that undeath nerf now. It's a maximum of 15% mitigation instead of 30%. And people do be dying in the battlegrounds. I have noticed like the kill counts are up. They're way up. I think it's a combination of that specific nerf plus people because of that nerf, they're really building for damage. They're really cranking the damage in their builds and people are dying. It's nice. A lot of sorks. I mean, it's 50% sorks at least
Yeah.
out there.
The team with the most Sorks wins.
That's yeah. If you need more power, just add more sork.
That's right.
Nightblades, I think, are a close second, especially in the solo queue. A ton of Nightblades, and really, I think a well-built Nightblade in a solo situation like that is about as good as a Sork, in my opinion, at least in battlegrounds.
I'd say you could get about the same amount of kills. Maybe. It depends if they're using Mage's Wrath or not on their Sork.
Yeah, I mean, Sorks can secure those kills like really nobody else can, but aside from that kind of one thing, I feel like they're very equally capable in the solo queue, Sorks and Nightblades. Also, a really popular class that I think we don't mention enough is when it specifically comes to solo queue battlegrounds is Wardens. There's a lot of Wardens, and that's been the case for a long time, actually. It's just I think we don't mention them a lot because they're often not offensively threatening. Like what they are objective people. Like they're there to stand on flags and not die and win the objective. And for if that's your goal, if that's how you like to play, there's no better class than Warden. So it's a very very popular class in battlegrounds. I think that's worth mentioning just for that reason.
Yeah. I think Warden's also a good way to just dip your toes into PvP if you haven't already. It's a very safe class, you know?
Yeah.
It's a safe class. It's not easy to die if you build it right, and you still do pump out damage. And you can run builds where you pump out a lot of damage. Like there's those mechanical acuity wardens where
Yeah.
the mechanical acuity procs they put on Northern Storm, and it'll tick for 6k, 7k a tick or whatever the numbers are, and it's not easy to survive if you're in the middle of that storm. You get sent to the north pretty fast.
Yeah, I concur with that. A really great class for beginners, and it's one that you can really grow into too. You know, it's an easy class to get into, and then there's plenty of room to kind of learn the class and get better and better and better at it. And you add so much to a team. I mean, everybody is happy to have a warden on their team. I think Templar is also, especially when it comes to solo playing, they're similar in that regard. I think they have a little bit more offensive capability than Warden does, but not quite as much supportive capability. So
Or nothing worse than trying to survive a team of 4 on you and somebody's in the distance shooting their beam at you while you're trying to
just
survive.
spamming javelins and beams. That's
And the
all they're
second
doing.
your health touches below 50%, you're screwed.
Honestly, that's also a very popular solo queue build that I see quite a few people doing. Is they're basically just a Templar healer, a pure healer, except they have the javelin and the beam slotted too, and they're just keeping their team alive, spamming that ultimate and heals and everything else. And then as soon as there's someone with a low health bar, boom, beam, beam, beam,
And it
javeling
works.
you off the map and all that stuff. Very effective. Very good way to play. Tarnished Nightmare, still everywhere. I feel like the
Oh
popularity is
man.
still just growing. It's just everywhere. It's one of those sets you can put it on any build. You don't necessarily have to specifically build for it, though you can, but you really can just be like, I don't know what else to use. I'll just throw Tarnished on there and that'll be good.
It's a very solid, very annoying set for everybody else.
Yeah, the sound effect is annoying. I see a lot of people complain about it, but I really don't think it's overpowered. I mean, the sound is annoying, but otherwise, I think it's fine.
I don't think it is either. I think it's just the sheer amount of people using it, the saturation of tarnished all over the place is what makes it annoying. Because there'll be times
Yeah.
where in a battleground there could be 4 or 5 people using it, and you'll just be getting hit from range, and you'll hear the sounds of glass being broken over your head over and over and over again. And it does add up.
That's when it becomes tough.
It doesn't hit super hard, but that's when it's hard. And that's what a lot of gankers use too, and they mix it with other things. I don't know what the set's called, but there's a set where I think you heavy attack and an axe flies at you.
Oh yeah, it's a monster set called Anthelmir's Construct, I think. Yeah, I've been ganked with that quite a few
Yep.
times.
And I've been playing a lot of Cyrodiil recently, as you know, and it is riddled with Nightblades who will all group together and sit in stealth, and they hit you with a snipe and a heavy attack, and your health just drops because they have that
Yeah.
all timers axe or whatever you just said it was called, and they have Tarnished Nightmare, and they are also Nightblades. So very painful. Lots of fun.
Yeah. You get multiple enemies with Tarnish, it really becomes a problem because it starts procking on your teammates and it's all overlapping and you're getting hit with like 5 or 6 at a time and it's all AoE. So, yeah, I mean, like you're just going up against one person with it, not that big a deal, but just the nature of it being AoE, direct damage, it applies that minor breach every single time.
Yeah,
It's good stuff. Probably will be nerfed at some point. Maybe they'll take away the guaranteed breach or something like that. I don't know.
I didn't even know it gave breach.
Yeah, it's guaranteed minor breach every
That's news
time.
to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Also seeing an increase in like elemental explosion bombers. So elemental explosion is that scribing skill, the Destro staff, big AoE ranged bomb thing. You ran into many of those? I know like Ruski and some people like that in the
I was just gonna say, shout out to our boy Ruski.
shout out to Ruski.
It is a very scary bomb because you don't. The first time it happens to you, and it could be the first time in a game. It's happened to me multiple times, and it's still jarring. But the first time it happens, you just your character just falls over, and you have no idea what
Oh,
happened. And you look at your death
you just
recap,
blink out of existence.
and you see that this fiery explosion hit you for 16,000 damage.
I'm pretty sure he was using Tarnished Nightmare and Vicious Death. I
Yeah,
think those are the two 5 pieces
that
he's using
sounds
with it.
right. You see him running around with 19,000 health, and you just know he's gonna do some
Yeah.
fools.
No, I mean you look at the guy and he dies, but I mean if he freaking touches you with that bomb, you're going down too. And he's wiping groups with that thing, and it's a ranged bomb, so he can stay kind of far
Yeah,
back out of the mess and throw that thing in there. And the second you forget about him, you're toast. Yeah,
yeah. You
you're
gotta
totally. He's gonna get you.
if you got somebody doing one of these bombs in your game, you have to be on high alert all the time.
Oh yeah,
It,
yeah.
it, it's
And it has
it's
that 2 second cast time, so it is challenging. I kind of like that it is so strong because it has that cast time and everything. But you got to watch out for it. Not just our friend of ours. It's catching on. More and more people are using
yeah.
it. It's really strong. It's a fun ability. You can put a knockback script on there, so it looks like an invisible dragon knight is jumping into a group and knocking everyone back.
I didn't. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't even mind dying to it. It's just I think it looks like a lot of fun, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Ironworks. He made a build video for one of those a little while back. It looks like a lot of fun. Really. He was using I think Tarnish and Winterborn, another good combo. I thought I mentioned necromancers because they got a bunch of buffs this patch, so I thought we would check in and see how they're doing. And when the patch first dropped, I did see a pretty big increase in necromancers. I think because people saw those buffs and everything, are like, okay, let's check out necromancer. But that's died down quite a bit as far as like my observations go. Now that we're kind of in this patch and we're just kind of moving on with life here, necros have kind of died back down to probably the least popular class in Battlegrounds because the buffs that they got, it's hard to even call them buffs really. It's more just like quality of life, like
Yeah.
we're really just making it easier for them to access these buffs that they already, had to have in their build. So it might be a little bit easier to have a bar setup that you want to have, but they're not any more powerful than they were before. They don't really have any more utility, or they're not really bringing anything else to the table other than what they already had. So they're not really in any better spot than they were, other than just kind of convenient bar setups, I think. And I think
Yes.
people have figured that out, and you're just not seeing a ton of necromancers. That class needs to be redesigned from the ground up. Totally, they need to scrap it and just totally reimagine the whole thing. That's my opinion.
I think that would be a good idea. Will it ever happen? Well,
Doubtful, very doubtful.
maybe not.
But maybe slowly, bit by bit, over time, like the Gravelord sacrifice, the self blast bones thing. Maybe not implemented super well, but that might be the beginning of them taking a step down that path of like reimagining what this class is capable of and stuff. Because blast bones is their best ability, and it's kind of a shame that they messed with that and kind of took that away from necros. But I've also felt like it's a shame that Necro is just kind of a reskin of a Warden, and Blastbones, and using Blastbones and Sub Assault are basically like the exact same thing as far as how it feels to use them. I really wish Necro had their own completely separate identity, like let's get rid of Blastbones. Let's just think of something else, like a new idea. That's what I think they need to do.
I don't really know a whole lot about Necro, but I'm down with I'm down with them changing it up because that class is just it's just is it even used in PvE? Do you know?
Actually, I think that actually is kind of the one spot where they are in very good shape. Like they're a good DPS in PvE. But I don't know, now that scribing's around, I haven't really checked in on that since scribing's around. That might have changed now because I think a lot of what gave them value is some of the debuffs and stuff that they bring. But now, if other people have access to those through scribing, then I don't know.
I know they're used as tanks, I believe. It's either like some support character in PvE. I know they're used like that, but that's about all I know on the PvE side.
Yeah, I know they can be, but I think Dragon Knight is still, the long-standing champ as far as tanks go.
Probably.
But I don't know. Scrollingpodcast@gmail.com. Tell me how wrong I am. I don't know anything about PvE,
We both do not
honestly.
know what we were talking about at all. But we're talking about it.
There was a point in time I did. I was very much a PvE main back in the day, but I mean, it's been a long time. I know how to do a DPS rotation, but
There you go. That's all you need.
As far as the Battlegrounds meta, it seems like having a lot of damage and a lot of movement speed is the way to go. It seems like that's the builds that you see out there getting a lot of kills and not dying and stuff like that. That's what they're Sorks, you know. They have a lot of damage, they have a lot of movement
The
speed.
meta is play Sork.
Meta is play Sork. But even if you're not on a Sork, I think that's if you're trying to play offensively and like you're focused on kill death ratios, that's what you want. You want to build with a lot of movement speed and a lot of damage, and I think that's the way to be successful right now.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what's happening in Battlegrounds. Anything else to add about that, Don?
not much. I think we covered it all. I think we did good.
We did
Covered the
real good.
bombers. We covered the tarnish. We covered the Sorks. The necro.
So this coming week we'll have our I guess we're turning it into like a monthly event for the guild. We'll do our Goon Wars. It's happening on Thursday, so we'll report in on that next time.
It's back.
Let's get on with it here. Let's talk about some builds. Dog, do you have a build or two you want to share with us today?
I could talk about 2 builds.
Okay, all right, lay it on us, man.
First of all, I'll say this: the new the new Dragon Knight set, Pyrebrand, is ridiculous, and
Overpowered, yes.
everybody should get it for their Dragon Knight. It's super fun. But I have a build
Before they nerf it.
before they nerf it. Yeah, get as much fun of it as you can. It's literally doing 15 to 20% of my DPS every time I fight somebody.
It's like 2 proc sets, and it's like you're wearing 2 proc sets in one as far as how
Yep.
much damage it's doing.
And if you double bar it, it's even wilder. But I've been really enjoying that set. I use it with Rallying Cry in anywhere that's not dueling, really. So like open world, battlegrounds, what have you. And then if I'm dueling, or even sometimes in battlegrounds, I also like burning spellweave on the back bar. You put out so
Oh.
much damage. Highly recommend it. And then as a mythic, I've been rocking with the usually just the what's it called? The one that everybody uses now. Satan Seducer.
Oh yeah, that's the
Satan
one.
Seducer, Malakath, both are really good.
You go to Stormhaven and watch people dueling. I mean, you just see 20 of those circles all
Yes.
overlapping because
It,
everyone's using that mythic.
it's like a disco party all the time. So I've been liking that. Again, Pyrebrand with Rallying Cry or Burning Spellweave. Really whatever monster set you want, either Bloodspawn or Balorg, depending on what your play style is, and then just throw on that Satan Seducer, throw on the Malakath.
Marsalok probably be good too.
Marsalok, yeah, Marsalok is really good. I've also actually seen a lot of people using the dual wield ult. Side note, but
Oh yeah, that's good.
that is also very good on DK now. So that's my DK build. And then I also play a lot of Nightblade occasionally. I play too much Nightblade.
Right.
But the build I've been using most on that is just it's a very basic build. It's Order's Wrath and Rallying Cry, Balorg monster set, and again the Satan Seducer mythic.
It's a Chad build right there, man. That's just all stats. I love that.
It pumps out a lot of damage. And now because of scribing, if you put on there's a skill called contingency and if you or fiery contingency. So what it does is it's like another spammable almost that goes off with the next ability you cast. So you cast this ability and then you could go in and soul tether and it's AoE. So on top of your soul tether that might hit 12 to 13k whatever, you're also hitting an extra 7k or 5k or whatever your contingency hits for. It's a lot of bursts.
Yeah.
And you haven't even
I
shot
noticed
a bow
that
yet.
on my recap on I think it was Thursday night. We were fighting in pre-mades. You popped to me with that a couple of times, and I noticed that contingency with the soul tether is a spicy combo there.
It's so good. And
Yeah.
you could even throw scribing is crazy because you could even throw on another affix where your next ability cast or your next direct ability damage does 2000 extra damage, and you can also
Oh
put
yeah.
minor force on the ability, so every time you cast it you get 10% extra crit damage for 20 seconds or whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
the stat, not the stat padding, or
Sure.
the weight you
The
could add
density.
to the density, I guess. Yeah, the density you could add to an ability is wild.
That's one of the more potent, like, scribing grimoires that, what's it? Ulfsild's Contingency is what it's called.
Yes,
The Mages Guild
I
one.
believe that's
Yeah, that's one of the
the
better ones.
I believe that's the like the base form of it. Mine's just called Fiery Contingency because of whatever I've done to it. But
Yeah, yeah.
that on Nightblade with that build and Soul Tether is extremely strong. You hit too hard.
I can confirm with the Order's Wrath, especially making it crit, you get all that crit damage and everything.
Yep. Those are my builds though. Ket, I'm gonna pass it over to you to talk about
Okay, all right.
Mr. Sork.
It is my turn. I'm going to talk about my Magica Sorcerer. I recently changed his name. His name was Intergalactic, but now his name is Storm Astronaut.
Amazing.
So he's my roly poly mag sork. So the gear is Tarnished Nightmare, of course, on the front bar with a lightning staff, Wretched on the back bar with a bow, 2 pieces Mighty Chudan, the Stormweaver's Cavort, Mythic Pants, and 1-piece Trainee. 5 medium, 1 heavy, 1 light. It's all well fitted. The jewelry's all bloodthirsty. All points in health. Using the Lover Mundus, Sugar Skulls for the food. Using spell critical potions or detect potions. If there's a lot of night blades, but otherwise I use the crit pots. And the most significant change I've made to this dude recently is the Shattering Spines ability. That's
Ooh.
that AoE root. It's basically like a Magicka Bombard. So it pairs really nicely with Streak. So I have an AoE root, I have an AoE stun, so I can kind of alternate those to keep people locked down, basically permanently. It also has a 4-second delayed burst. It always happens after a 4-second delay, whoever you hit it with. So that makes it pair really nicely with Haunting Curse that has a 3.5-second delay. So you cast Spines, you cast Curse. A few seconds later, they're going to pop pretty much at the same time. They're both AoE. Mage's Wrath is also AoE. Tarnished is also AoE. So it's all, you basically just are running around with this bomb that you're throwing around all the time.
I can confirm that the root ability that Ket is talking about is super annoying. Very
Super
good.
duper annoying.
It's very good, especially when he drops a negate on your forehead.
If you see me load into a battleground on my sorcerer, you want to put the snow treaders on. You want to be sure and get those and get those equipped. So yeah, the damage happens after a 4-second delay unless you recast the ability, then the damage happens early. So that means you can also use it as an AoE spammable. It's like such a versatile ability. It's an AoE root, it's a delayed burst, it's an AoE spammable. It applies major maim to any enemies that you hit with it, whether they get rooted or not. Even if they're root immune, they still get the damage applied to them. They still get the major maim. A permanent uptime on major maim, I feel like, is really huge. And then another kind of slept on fact about it is it activates the blood magic passive. Every time you cast it, you get like a 4k heal out of it. So it's an amazing ability. It's really like transformed this build for me. It's an indispensable ability ever since I've started using it. His defensive setup. So first of all, you want to really lean on that Stormweaver mythic. As a reminder, that's the one that makes your dodging and blocking and sprinting and all that stuff cost magicka instead of stamina. I'm also a Breton with really good magicka sustain, and as a sorcerer, I can use Dark Conversion to dump all my stamina and turn it into magicka. So that's like the best defensive tool I have is basically that infinite magicka pool that I'm using for all my defensive maneuvers and everything. So just be very, very active, very mobile, and you know it's pretty easy to stay alive as long as you're doing that. Also using Shuffle, I do have that Mighty Chudan monster set, so I replaced my armor buff with Shuffle for the snare removal and the major evasion that helps survivability quite a bit. Vigor and Hardened Ward, it's all the healing you're ever going to need, and of course all that crowd control with Streak and Shattering Spines, that supreme mobility. It's a squishy build. It really is a very squishy build, but I have no problem keeping myself alive with all those tools kind of at my disposal. The offense is pretty simple. You're just going to root them with Shattering Spines, put a Haunting Curse and Mage's Wrath on them, Streak to stun them, then just hit them with a spammable and start all over again with Shattering Spines. You want to do it like that because once you root them, they're going to almost always dodge out of that root, and that's a perfect opportunity to cast Haunting Curse because that is not dodgeable. So you can just cast that while they're in the middle of that roll dodge, put a Mage's Wrath on them, and then you want to punish that dodge by streaking to stun them. So they just wasted stamina getting out of that root. They're going to have to waste stamina again now to get out of that stun if they have stamina left, because theoretically, through the course of a fight, you've been rooting, stunning them forever and ever and ever. Eventually, that stamina bar is going to run out, and you're going to have them right where you want them. So, you basically just keep that up, and you'll wear them out eventually.
It's a good build, man.
That's pretty much my sort. Yeah, it's really good. Like in a 1v1 fight, you may or may not have the firepower to kill someone, but it's really a team build, and you're really going for the group effort. You're keeping the enemy team locked down with all the crowd control. You're throwing all this AoE burst into the crowd as well. And so with the help of your team, you guys should have a pretty good upper hand on things with all that going on.
Yeah, I noticed going against you with anything resembling a team is a rough experience just because of that build. But the spines, the roots, the stuns, it's all very hard to deal with in a team environment where there's also other people following up on the fact that you can't move.
Yeah.
Very fun build, it looks like.
And then you have this like AoE bomb popping off every few seconds with all of that as well. And then you got the negates coming in on top
The
of them.
negates.
Yeah, those negate. Man, you practice with negate, you get good at putting that in good spots. It can be a total game changer. So the one weakness of the build I would say is that I don't really have healing. Like if I have a teammate that's dying, I don't have a way to heal them. But what I do instead is I just really, really rely on that crowd control. If I have a teammate in trouble, I'll go back to those alternating roots and stuns. I'll root the enemy to give my teammate a moment to breathe. Once the enemy dodges out of that root, I'll streak to stun them. So already I've given my teammate like 4 or 5 seconds, to heal themselves up and do whatever. And by the time they break out of that stun, their root immunity is up. So I can root them again. So now I'm giving them like 6 to 8 seconds, to recover from that situation. So even though you can't heal people, you still can help them out quite a bit just by using that crowd control. So anyway, that's my Sork. Storm Astronaut is now his name. And that's all the builds I have to talk about today. On the next episode, I'll probably talk about Warden and Necro. That's what you can probably look forward to for next time.
Boom. There is one thing I want to add that I learned yesterday, thanks to Slavka,
Okay.
our buddy Slavka. Shout out.
Shout out to Slavka.
Shout out to Slavka. He showed me something with fiery contingency that's interesting, and I think it does have uses. You can actually, so when you cast it, it procs on your next ability that you cast or a dodge roll. So what you could do is you could cast this fiery contingency ability and then cast another one and dodge roll while you're casting it, and it'll actually go off twice. So it's like 2 spammable abilities that could hit for 7k potentially, procking at the same exact time just because you dodge rolled.
Yeah, it's any ability that costs a resource will set it off. And dodging and blocking, those are abilities. Those are called core combat abilities. So that counts. That'll set it off. And Ulfsild's contingency itself, recasting it, will set off the previous cast.
Yes.
So yeah, you cast it once, then you dodge cancel a second cast, and you get both pops instantaneously, basically, right?
Exactly. So that would be the order. You cast contingency. You could also do a light attack, but because why not, more damage? But you would cast contingency, light attack, cast another contingency, dodge roll, and it goes off twice, and it's quite a bit of damage, literally for just dodge rolling, pretty much.
Yeah, if you could really time that, yeah, that could be cool. That could be really cool.
But I just learned that the other day. The fact that it can proc twice at the same time is it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I remember Slavi. Yeah, I remember Slavka mentioning that to me too. I haven't tried it though.
He was saying healers do it as well because you could turn it into a heal, I think. So a healer will do that dodge roll thing, and it casts 2 heals instead of 1, just for them dodging.
Any other like theorycraft related stuff you want to talk about?
Oh, if you want to do a range build and be even more annoying with pretty much anything, the wield soul ability, you can put major defile on it, which is very strong. So you can have 100% uptime on the person having 12% less healing, and their shields are 12% smaller. And the spammable itself hits for the same as Ellie weapon, so it's very strong.
It's really good as a spammable. They actually just buffed all the grimoires this patch too. I actually use that as a stun on my ranged Necro build because, and Necros already get permanent major defile from blast bones, major and minor defile from blast bones. So I put major cowardice on
Ooh,
wield soul, so it reduces their weapon and spell damage by like 400 something, which that also impacts their healing. So you have major and minor defile, plus you're reducing their weapon and spell damage. Once you include like major savagery or major brutality and like medium armor passives and everything like that, like you're taking away like 600 or so weapon and spell damage. I mean, that's going to impact their healing quite a bit as well, on top of the defiles. That's a good way to do it too. Well, let's talk about some emails. Scrollingpodcast@gmail.com. That's our email address. If you'd like to send us an email, we'd appreciate it. Make any suggestions for the show, ask any questions, shout out to a friend, say hello. Food related questions always welcome. It could be ESO related or not. Scrollingpodcast@gmail.com. And first email comes from Andrew. Andrew says, "Hey there, new to the podcast and new to the game. I've really been enjoying your content and hope to learn a thing or two. Thanks." Oh, and he also asked for a guild invite. I cut that out of this, but
get this man a guild invite.
we sent him a guild invite. He's in the guild. He's in there. So you're new to the game. Presumably, if you're joining our guild, you're going to be dipping into PvP from time to time. You didn't really necessarily ask for advice in this email, but I will give you a piece of advice. In my experience, the PvP in this game has a very steep learning curve. Don't get discouraged. Stick with it. You'll get good eventually. That's all I had to say.
Just don't be afraid to ask people what they're doing or what their builds are, or for advice. Like if somebody kills you and you're like, "What just happened?" Just ask them what they're doing. See if they can help you out.
Ask them.
Like we were talking about earlier with dueling in Stormhaven or whatever. Just don't be afraid to ask people for advice.
Yeah, ask them what their build is. Ask them how they do their combo, and don't just assume that they're cheating just because they got the better of you.
Blatant damage hacks. Blatant.
Don't just assume it's blatant damage hacks. Oh, yeah, thanks for writing, Andrew. Next email comes from Windsor. Windsor's our PlayStation NA chapter of the Stoons Goons guild leader. Shout out to Windsor. He says, "Hey, Cat, hope all is good on this fine Monday. Don't forget the coffee." Oh,
he has
number
not.
2 right here, buddy. Question: what would be your go-to crisps or chips? Mine would be Walker's, aka Lay's barbecue. It's just got so much flavor and can only be compared to something illegal. Also, from back in the day, McCoy's tortilla chips, Cool Ranch. They only sold them in the big packets, and you could literally feel the fat go down as you ate them. Thanks for the read. Keep scrolling. Thanks for writing, Windsor. So yeah, he must be British, calling them crisps. But yeah, what do you think? What are your favorite potato chips or any kind of chips? Want to buy my dog?
I'm a big Pringles guy, personally.
Okay.
I love
just like original or what?
Original sour cream and onion. It's really good.
Those are good.
The barbecue ones. Sometimes they got the weird oddball flavors that are actually kind of decent. Like they have a pizza flavor one, which
I was about to say the pizza ones are surprisingly fire.
Sounds strange, but they're so good.
They're good. They are
but
good.
all Pringles have the same quality, and my dad has this problem too, where if you go unchecked, that entire can will be gone in an hour.
Uh-huh.
So
you like the sawdust style of chips?
If that's what we call Pringles, yes. Give me more. Love Pringles. Honey mustard Pringles.
Yeah, that actually does sound pretty good.
That sounds good. Hey, probably honestly, if the pizza ones are good, I'm sure there's a way.
I kind of agree with Windsor. The Lay's barbecue. I mean, that's a standard. That's like in the normal rotation.
Yeah, those are classic.
That's a classic. You eat yourself like a turkey and Swiss sandwich with some Lay's barbecue chips. No one's gonna turn that down. It's always good. My very favorite chips, I think, are Doritos, the salsa verde flavor, the green
Oh,
bag.
whoa,
Ooh.
whoa!
You can't always find them. They're not always, in every store, but when you can find them, highly recommend the salsa verde Doritos. They're just the right amount of spice. They're so just a little bit of tang to them. Ah, man, they're so good.
I've
So
had
so
them
good.
once or twice. I can't. They are very tasty. I'm a Cool Ranch Dorito guy myself.
Cool Ranch is good. Now, Windsor here's talking about McCoy's Cool Ranch. I was thinking maybe McCoy's, that's like what Doritos are called in England, but I looked them up. No, it's a totally different product entirely.
Oh, interesting. Do they look like Doritos?
I mean, they are like triangular shaped, but they have a different texture, and it's not like
Oh,
they're from the same
I see.
factory.
He wrote tortilla crisp. Okay, that makes sense.
All right, there you go. Thanks for writing, Windsor. Always love the food questions. Keep them coming. Last email comes from Brandon. Brandon says, "Who is Stoon?" Can't believe you're a member of this guild and you don't even know who Stoon is. Let me
Everybody knows
educate you
Stoon.
people.
Who's Stoon?
Listen, I'm not even having to Google it right now, okay?
God.
Stoon is the Nordic god of ransom, fraternity, and justice, and is represented by a whale. He is the brother of Tsun, Tsun, and the Shield Thane of Shore, and is one of the Hearth gods. Stoon fought against the Aldmeri pantheon and showed men how to take and the benefits of taking prisoners of war. There you go. That's
That's who
Stoon.
Stoon is. That's who Stoon is.
It's funny, like we we just came up with the name as an inside joke because of the armor set Stoon's Favor. When it first showed up on PTS, it was like hilariously overpowered. So we just kept making jokes about it and it ended up becoming the name of our guild. And then it just happens to be a very fitting name for the guild, for like a PvP guild. And plus Davius is all about Nords and this is a Nordic god, it's perfect.
Everything fell into place.
That's kind of the whole history of this podcast and the guild and everything. It's like, well, that's just too perfect of a name to not do it, so we're gonna do it.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know who Stoon was either. I didn't know.
Out of the guild, dog.
I've already been kicked 20 times now.
That's your 21st kick right there.
That's not fair.
We start
Take
enforcing
that
that.
back.
We start enforcing them at 100. So watch out.
I've got a few days left.
scrollingpodcast@gmail.com. That's the email address. Please send us emails.
Do it.
If you're looking for a friendly PvP community to be a part of, check out Stoon's Goons. It's the official guild of the Scrollin' Podcast, and it's the best named guild on the PC NA, Xbox NA, and PlayStation NA servers. That's right, we're on all three. In-game membership is encouraged but not required. As long as you're on the Discord, you're a goon. Everyone is welcome. We'd love to have you. Send us an email at scrollandpodcast@gmail.com to get an invite to the guild or the Discord or both. If you find yourself wishing that Scrollin' was a weekly podcast, well, head on over to patreon.com/scrollinpodcast and you can make your dreams come true. You sign up to receive Stoon's Boon for $3 a month. That gets you access to a number of things, including the Booncast, which is a solo podcast that I do on the off weeks. So you get a little Scrollin' every week. That's patreon.com/scrollinpodcast. Other ways you can support the show, you can make a one-time donation at paypal.me/scrollinpodcast. A really big way you can help is just spread the word. Send people over to scrollandpodcast.com just to tell them about the podcast. That has the links to all the different places where they can listen. It has our email address. All the stuff is right there. Another way you can help is give us a star rating and especially a written review on Apple Podcasts. That helps us out quite a bit. And the best way that really anybody can help us out is just join the community. Come hang out on Discord, can be a member of the guild, play ESO with us, discuss, builds and stuff like that with us. Pretty much all the stuff that we talk about here on the podcast starts as experiences and conversations and stuff like that we have with our friends in the game. So scrollandpodcast@gmail.com to come hang out with us.
Join the disco.
Join the disco.
That's what it is.
Sammyverse, thanks for joining us. Good to see you. All right, we have some shout outs. Shout out to the chat. Morty, Pellinal White Strake, Sammyverse, Uncle Sam was in here earlier. Who else? Didn't we have someone else? Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
I guess that was it. Thanks for joining us, fellas. Always good to have you. Shout out to friends of ours that we've been playing with lately: Uncle Sam, Napalm, Slavka, Miss Yusha, Ironworks, Maddie, Ferrets, Knox DeVille, Sudica, Phantasmic, Brina, probably some others. It's been a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Shout out to the Elder Goons, the OGs, the people that have been around since the very beginning. We really appreciate you guys. And shout out to the Booner Goons, our Patreon supporters, the Stoons Boon recipients: Thomas, Grizzly Khan, Gummy Bear, Toadster, Pork Buddy, Taggart, Mother of Dragons, Jim, Sudica, Maxwell, Derpenstuff, Brewerman, Dudagon, Redhead Monster, Chumpy, John E. Danger, Joe, FK, Bulby, and we got a new one, Mr. Windsor.
Mr. Windsor.
Really appreciate it. It helps so much. You really have no idea. And one last shout out to WannaBuyMyDog.
That's
Thanks
me.
for joining me today, dude.
Of course. I'm happy to be here, man. I like coming on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's fun to chill out and talk and have it recorded and whatever.
Yeah, it's always a good time, man. Any final thoughts or anything you want to plug before we sign off?
I'm gonna plug my Twitch stream, my YouTube, and my Kick, I guess, because I've just anytime I click stream, I stream to all those things. But come check out my stream, or if I'm streaming, I've been streaming Elder Scrolls recently, probably a few times a week. I just play PvP and try to have a good time and hang out with the boys.
Twitch.tv/WannaBuyMyDog, or just search for WannaBuyMyDog on YouTube. DOG.
Yes,
right?
WannaBuyMyDog DOG. Wanna buy my dog with a G. Dog with a wait. Dog spelt as in dog the animal. Okay.
Right.
I made that more complicated than that had to be. But yeah, you can find me Twitch, Kick, or YouTube.
So yeah, and let me just vouch. It's a quality stream. It's fun. It's entertaining, and you see some quality PvP happening at the same time. I definitely recommend checking out WannaBuyMyDog.
And lots of good tips and tricks.
Yeah, tips and tricks about the super cool helmet and the 50,000 resistances on the wedding dress and all that stuff.
We didn't even cover that in the podcast.
You gotta come next time. We'll get it next time.
To the stream for that. That's right. That's what I need.
Okay, we're gonna have to call it right there before things get out of control. Thank you guys very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Love you. Looks like it's just me and you guys. Could hang out, talk about things. We can yearn. We can yearn while he's gone. What do you think about that, Mort? I know you like to yearn. Are you yearning? I know it's early for you, but it's never too early to yearn. Yeah. Yep.
I have returned.
Hello, welcome back. I'm yearning.